Hello, and welcome to News from the Hill. Today I have some renowned guests who are going to talk about music, excellence, bands, performances, classical music, jazz music, gospel music, spirituals. They are very versed in all of these areas. So we're going to have a lively discussion about all sorts of things when it comes to music today. I'm Elizabeth Sloan-Ragland, and we hope that you're going to enjoy this show. We're pretty certain that you are. I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about themselves, and then we're just going to have a roundtable discussion about all things music. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Please tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Henry Bradford. I've been around a little while, and that's been a delight. I've seen some marvelous things happen at Alabama A&M University, and where I stayed for about 42 years and enjoyed every minute of it. But I also am interested in seeing it to continue to grow, to keep the same high standards of musical performance that we've always tried to encourage. And I believe that there's going to be a possibility, and we're going to talk about that. We go way back.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And you, sir?
My name is Arthur Wesley. I was the former director of bands here at Alabama A&M. I came in 1974 with the late Mr. Barney Smart. I was his assistant during that time. In 1997, I took over the program, and I continued his legacy on up to what's going on now. And we will talk about that in a few, about the great job that Mr. Yates is doing. And when I left, I retired in 2010. I turned it over to Mr. Yates, and he's been excelling ever since then.
Thank you. And you, sir?
My name is Derrick Yates, and I am the interim director of bands currently. It's been an honor. I've been influenced by all these gentlemen at some point in time, studying and working under them. It's an honor to follow in the footsteps of the former director of bands, Mr. Dr. Wesley. It's an honor to have been, from a musical standpoint, academically, to been influenced by him as well as Dr. Carney, and from an academic standpoint, and to tie those two in with Dr. Bradford, expounding on just how excellent we should be as musicians and music educators. So I am in awe and an honor to follow in their footsteps.
Thank you. And you, sir?
I am Horace Carney. I am currently the chair of visual, performing, and communicative arts at Alabama A&M University. I'm also the coordinator of the present music program and the interim director of the Alabama A&M University Choir. It is my pleasure to be in the company of such auspicious men, and our aim has always been to strive for excellence. The job has its challenges, but I know for a fact since 1990 when I first came that the bands and the performing choral groups have aspired and have performed in a spirit of excellence. We feel that that is one of the top things of our programs, and we intend to make sure, as long as we are teaching and instructing, that they maintain that standard.
Well, gentlemen, since I have all of this knowledge here today, tell me from each of your standpoints about preparing the education. What do you have to do to be able to perform with excellence? Music department, retired, working. But all of you are educators. So what does it take to get an individual or a group ready to go out and to perform for the public? What type of education?
Oh, okay.
Well, the one thing I think that's so important, you've got to have an inner yearning to really impart knowledge. And if you know the significance of the ability to be able to use the knowledge to make the world a better place, to make the community a better place, to make the individuals a better place, then that's what it takes. But you have to have something on the inside of you to like the beautiful, to like perfection, to like excellence. Otherwise, you're just performing in the dark, living in the dark. But you're always aiming for high goals, and that's the thing that moves an educator along. You always want to know more all the time. You don't think you know enough to be able to function as highly, as energetically, as competently, and with as much enthusiasm as you like to. And I believe that if a person has that inner drive, that they can be successful. Sometimes it can take the motivation from somebody who has touched your life before, a teacher, a parent, a minister, somebody in the community, a professional. They can inspire you, and usually that would become your impetus for wanting to become what you can become based on the potential that God has given you. And when you realize that you have the potential and you move in the right direction, you can make use of that education that you will have acquired in order to make the community where you live. In other words, I like the words to a song that I know. It says, breaking the corner where you are. And if you are interested in doing that, then you can go and take charge of education, prepare yourself as thoroughly as possible, and move always in the attitude and the atmosphere of excellence at all times.
Wonderful. Mr. Wesley.
Yes, I would like to add on to what he said. First of all, with the instrumental part of the music department, recruitment is important. And that's what we've done over the years. We have, in order to get the excellent musician, and all to aim for the excellence that he's talking about. So we've done it over the years with each of these gentlemen. Now we've gone out to all the schools throughout Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana, and Mr. Yates has gone on beyond that, Detroit, Chicago, Tennessee, even on to many other places, recruiting the best students so that we can have an excellent program. So that's important. And we have given scholarships that are helped as well. And this is one way that the students can earn, well, should I say, that's one way the students can come to the university is through the scholarships that they were offered. And they would come, and especially to get the excellent student that he's talking about, and all to produce the excellence that we're talking about as well.
So when you're out recruiting, do you have the student perform and then you evaluate, and that's how you determine who you want to invite to come to Alabama A&M University and become a part of the program?
Yes, we do that. We have them to play various excerpts from different types of music. We have them to play scales, arpeggios, and have them to do an individual solo as well, to see how they rate on their own without anything, without us giving them something to play. First of all, we'll let them do their thing, okay, in other words. And so, and after that, we will determine if the student is worthy to come to A&M.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, that's how we do it. So we do that everywhere we go. And we usually make an offer to the student as well, especially if the student has done well. We say, well, yeah, you can come to A&M.
That's right.
Sometimes you are invited.
That's right. You're invited to come. But sometimes we have to almost have to cry because some people have to say, well, my son, next year maybe.
Everybody does not make the cut.
That's right. Just keep working on it. And sometimes I say, well, You probably do better at a sister institution. I'll say that.
Well, you see, I think
Can't come in.
because you want somebody to bring something when they
Right.
come
Right.
to the university. You know,
Yes.
you don't have anything. You don't have a grounding upon which you can build.
That's right.
Then you can never approach the epitome that we want you to reach.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
it's the potential that you have that you've manifested in the audition.
That's right.
But you see, you've got to have the drive and the determination yourself. If you don't have that, you won't achieve.
Right.
Because there's too many things around that are enticing, inviting, and can influence you.
That's
so
it.
that you lower your standards and you won't work to the top of your potential.
Yes.
I like the word. But if you don't have the inner drive, you see, it takes work to approach perfection.
That's right.
Musicians have to practice hours on hours
That's
at
right.
on end in an effort to refine the innate talent that they have and to refine the talent that they bring
That's
in the
right.
audition.
That's
right.
correct.
But we don't want an empty wagon. You know, the empty wagons make a lot of noise.
That makes an empty band.
Okay.
I would only add to that, more importantly, once you've done those things that they've mentioned, as an educator, to your original question, then first of all, you, the educator, must have some kind of idea of what a quality sounding band should be.
That's right.
Or instrumentalist or vocalist should be. Then once you know what that is, you must know how to produce it yourself, how to acquire it. And then from the passion and the love and the interest that you have for your program and for your students and for music, as Dr. Bradford has already mentioned, that alone gives you the drive and the motivation to produce. The biggest skill out of all of that is that you must, no matter who the kid is or where they are, you got to have a skill or the ability to bring that particular kid up to where it is you're trying to go. So the biggest challenge is to make a superstar out of the weakest kid. Now, how do you go about doing that? And do you have the knowledge to know how to do that? Knowing the where you are and knowing your clientele and your student body. All of those are major factors in developing quality programs.
So it's not just the superstars.
No.
But you take those who may not be the superstars
Absolutely.
and uplift.
Absolutely.
And make them superstars.
Make them
I get what I'm saying.
superstars. And make them superstars. And motivation
That's right.
and positive encouragement
Right.
is part of it. So
That's
the
right.
person has to care, as Dr. Bradford has already mentioned, not only about music itself, but about the students that they are trying to educate as well.
Yeah.
That has to be a part of it. It cannot be one without the other.
And you see, and the student will come into an environment where there's aura of excellence in prevalence, and they'll want to really try to become like some of the players that are here
That's right.
when they come.
That's right.
And where there's activity, where there's aspiration, where there's motivation, where there's determination, then you are affected by that, and the
right.
students can achieve. And then any organization is no stronger than the individuals that make it up.
That's right.
See,
That's right.
nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you bring something, then you can achieve because you've got quality.
That's right.
Quality begets quality.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the
keep
purpose. That's the purpose of recruiting.
That's right.
Try to get the best.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is a university. So we're talking in the manner in which we are because we're also trying to get you to understand we know that marching band is an entertainment component of the department, but it's not all we do. We have 9 bands here.
9.
9 different bands here, 9 different ensembles.
They are.
All of them are crucial to the development of music majors. We also offer degrees in music. We have musicians. This is training ground. We are music educators first. We understand the entertainment part, but we are music educators first. As Dr. Bradford just mentioned, you have, and Ms. Wesley just mentioned, you have these kids who are coming here wanting to be music educators. They're looking at us as the examples and the knowledge of how to get them to where they're trying to go. I mean, we have the University Marching Band. Obviously, that's the biggest and the most marketable one that you see all the time. It's always out front. You can't miss that one. You have the wind ensemble. You have the brass ensemble, the woodwind ensemble, the percussion ensemble, the string ensemble. You have the pep band. You have the jazz band. All of these ensembles here that are vital to educating musicians. Very vital to making a total musician. Very vital.
String ensemble.
And I said the string ensemble.
String
right.
ensemble.
That's right.
Okay, now I've got to ask this, and then Dr. Carney, I have to come to you and let you answer that question as well. But let me ask this while we're talking about 9 different bands. Do you have individuals who can play in one and then move over and go to the other one, or do you just specialize in the band that is your specialty?
The latter is ideal.
Right.
But here at A&M, we actually have students that play in several of the ensembles.
Okay.
Now, to give an example, this is what he did when he was a student here. He played in the concert band, he played in the marching band, he played in the brass ensemble, he played in the jazz band, he played in all those groups.
Okay.
Percussion ensemble as well, he played with. Yeah.
So you
Because he had the competence
Right.
and he had the inner drive.
Exactly. Yeah.
See?
So he did. He participated in all these groups.
That's right.
So you can go from one to the
Yes,
other if
yes.
you have the ability.
Yes.
You don't just have to stay in one.
No.
Okay. Now, Dr. Carney, your answer to the original question.
Well, I don't want to prolong it except to say that having been a part of both of these groups and helping both of these groups achieve their goal, it's no accident that you have to try to recruit people that are going to bring something to the table, as well as those people who have the potential to add to what you're going to do. And I think that everything that they said applies. We try to take the student that's coming to Alabama A&M, and it's not the same student, and I might just kind of add that now, but wherever they are, if we see potential in them, or if we see a lot of talent in them, we want them to move to as high as they can go, the next level. And we try to fashion our operating procedures, our academic instruction, our programs and concerts that we have for each one of these ensembles, vocal or instrumental, in a fashion that is going to raise the standard. We have heard the standard on a national level and a regional level. We don't see any reason why our groups cannot perform at that level, and that's what we're striving for. As an educator, you are not always liked for that, but as a person who represents the university, we must be about that. And so I say that recruitment is very much a part, and everything that we do, if it's going to point to excellence, we have to present the standard. We have to stand for it, and we have to be diligent in keeping up with trends, keeping up with the population that we serve. Because as you well know, that our students now are learning through different kinds of styles. And we have to incorporate that to communicate the standard that we want them to uphold. And Will Carney, Mr. Yates is doing it with the bands that he's over. I'm doing it with the choral ensembles that we have, especially the university choir, but vocal jazz ensemble. There are 2 different styles, but we have to have excellence in all, and a dignity also that goes along with that.
And may I just say this, the whole idea of excellence in music at Alabama A&M goes way back.
Yeah.
And I said that in the outset. There was a time when the great William C. Handy used to be the director of bands at Alabama A&M University. Of course, that's some time in the past.
That's right.
But when he left, somebody replaced him who was excellent in terms of teaching skills and abilities and competence. And they had students to come to Alabama A&M just because they knew that we were working for the highest possible performance level that we could achieve. And they knew the kinds of people that were on the teaching faculty, and the students would come. And I'm glad, and that's never stopped. That's true in instrumental music as well as in vocal music, because it goes all the way back. You know, we used to have Sunday concerts on the campus before Wesley got here, before Barney got here,
Right.
before anybody got here. There was a bandstand on this campus. Even at the time of William Hooper Council, I don't know anything about him, but I know somebody who did know something about him.
Right.
And that gentleman's name was James Wilson, for whom one of the buildings here on the campus is named. Now, he had the contact, and he used to tell me all the time the kinds of things that Dr. Council wanted to achieve. Let me give you an example, the kinds of music it was playing. Dr. Council was quite a religious man, as you know. He was a clergy person. And he would have some kind of something we call the chapel at Alabama A&M. The band would play, as small as it might have been, but they had to play well. And Dr. Council did not like too much about jazz. He wanted stuff that was sacred, you know.
Sacred, right.
And this band was playing in chapel one day, and Dr. Council said, well, now, what is that you're playing there? I don't like that. That doesn't sound quite right. He said, when we come back to chapel next time, I don't want to hear that piece anymore. And so when they came back 2 or 3 or 4 days after that, Mr. Handy played the same piece, I am told. And Mr. Wilson told me this because he was alive at the time that both Council and William C. Handy were alive. And he said, Mr. Handy played the same piece. And everybody was just stomping their feet, you know, keeping up with the jazz beat and the music and everything. And when they programmed the title for the piece that they were going to play, it said, Overture to Toussaint L'Ouverture. Now, that was a great liberator, you know. Right, right. And when they got through playing it with a nice rounding sound, you know, with all the drums playing and all the brass playing. Right, right. And Mr. Council got up and said to the congregation and to the students that were there, he said, now that's the kind of music we must hear. He said, now I'll tell you what, Mr. Handy, the next time we come to chapel, I want you to play that same piece. It was nothing but My Good Time Baby. Yeah. But he didn't know
Did he change the arrangement or something? Change the name.
In the program.
Yeah. Standards, though, is what we're talking about.
Right.
Aspirations for the students are some of the best musicians in this country, though small in number, left Alabama A&M and went into the world performing with the talents that they had refined at Alabama A&M, yes, and the basic talent that God had given them. Yes. You see.
So we have that diversity in terms, yes, of the, yes, music, the classical, the jazz.
Absolutely.
All of those different things. Mm-hmm. And of course, Mr. Wesley, you work with the jazz band, which, sure, was one of your specialties. Yes. Let's talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to talk about the marching band and the choral groups. Okay. Let's talk about that.
Jazz band. Well, originally when I came to A&M, Barney Smart wanted the students to experience more than more than marching and concert band. So he kind of said to me, well, why don't you get a band together and do some jazz? And then I did that, and it was called the stage band originally. And sometimes we mix up what the stage band does. That's the correct. Stage band is like the band that plays on the Jay Leno show, right, or Johnny Carson, that type of band.
That's right.
That's a stage band.
That's
okay?
right.
And that's what we did. So especially when we started. And I went to St. Louis, and I took that name to St. Louis one time. We were performing up there at a concert, and the lady said, well, people don't know what a stage band is. So I changed it we changed it to the jazz band, A&M Jazz Band. But over the years, I've had excellent musicians to play in the jazz band. There are several saxophonists. They have recordings now, several of them. Yeah. And one person who was in the jazz band was a trombonist, Dr. Henry Panion. Yeah. Yeah. He played trombone for me, and there are many other excellent players as well. But jazz is an excellent expression for our people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yes, sir.
And jazz, that's another idiom.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you're still working for perfection,
yes, sir,
and
right,
excellence in the performance of that, because worse than ragged jazz.
Yes,
right. But if you've got the musicians who really have been trained properly,
right,
you can produce.
Yeah, you can.
And that's what he's been doing, and that's what we've been doing at Alabama A&M for all these years. Always aiming for the topmost performance level that we can achieve. You see, nothing ordinary, nothing ordinary, but to try to achieve the best.
That's right.
That's what you were doing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna tell you, the quality of the music also was very important, because I remember when Barney was here with the band, he always wanted good music, even at a football game. Good music. It's just not entertainment, but it must also be good music.
That's right.
And everybody didn't realize what he was doing, but I mean, no mess. They had the girls dancing and all that. What they call them, the whatever their name is called. ADGs or whatever. And they had all that on the field, but behind it all was beautiful, excellent, well-prepared, well-rehearsed music on the field. And that's what we tried for. But you cannot have quality playing, quality performance, unless you've got quality performers.
Yes.
And that's why you have to recruit to get them.
Exactly.
And that takes a letter of what I like to refer to as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which is M-O-N-E-Y.
That's right. That's the point I was making. Yes, sir. You have to compensate.
Yeah.
In a way.
And that's through the scholarships
Yeah,
and things
yes.
of this nature.
Scholarships, yes.
Okay. Well, we are going to the marching maroon and white. We've been talking about the excellence and the preparation and all of that. And of course, as you said, the band, I guess, that most people see is the marching maroon and white. Let's talk about that group and how you prepare and what the demands are. And I think I've even heard that people have to get up and practice at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. Is that true?
That's only doing band camp, but that is true. That's part of what we call preseason. When we bring the students back the 1st of August to prepare for the upcoming season. And we are doing 5 o'clocks every day. And we have a joke that we call from sun up to sundown. Because we're rehearsing between, also dealing with the elements in terms of the temperature outside, extremely hot. So we're early in the morning to do calisthenics and physical exercises and things of that nature, and the basic training. And then we're inside during the day at music rehearsal. And then we are reinforcing the 2 in the evening back outside, between the music and the physical attributes and the field techniques. So that is the beginning of creating the marching band, teaching the basics, march style, commands, whistle, movement, snap and drive, all those things are part of preseason band camp.
And I don't know how important the rehearsals and all that are in order to get the quality of performance you want, particularly with the marching band and the performances at football games. Because they were stupid enough to let me become a narrator for some of the shows. And I'm telling you, I know the hours that we had to rehearse on the field and various places, practicing. Because he would tell me, he said, "All right, Doc, we're ready for the narrative now." And the script would be there, and I'd follow the script. And if he's not pleased with it, then I'd start again, because the epitome was excellence.
That's right.
And that's what we're trying to emphasize right now.
And the narrator's job is important, because you are helping you're part of the show. You're helping to actually give expression and life to what it is we're doing out there on the field in terms of pageantry and music. So
I can do that.
You did do that. You did do that. But all those preseason things that we talked about is just the build up to the first show. Besides that, you have to have a vision. You have to have a goal in terms of what you want to present. It takes time to be creative, to come up with ideas in terms of how to form which is patterns, but patterns in motion, but to design shapes and designs on the field. The music rehearsal is just as intimate or as important as the field rehearsal, because you must have
integrate the two.
Integrate the two, and you must have a university feel sound when you're out on the field. So the quality of the performance while your patterns are in motion should not lose. You should not lose any emphasis on either side of it.
Yes, sir.
And that's very important. The marching band is very important to the university. It is, in many cases, it's referred to as the ambassador of the school because it's a marketing tool.
Yes.
It's the one entity that's out front all the time. There is something instrumental-wise going on year-round. If it's not the marching band, it's one of the ensembles. It's the jazz band, or it's the brass ensemble, or it's the pep band at basketball game. But the band should always present itself to these two gentlemen's point at 100 all the time, because it's the one face that is seen all the time, and it is the one guaranteed face where you will get many students that come to this institution, some that are not even musicians, but because of them witnessing one of those ensembles and the excellence of those ensembles that draw them to this institution. And that's the same for other institutions as well.
So that's the recruiting aspect of the whole music program.
That's correct.
Yes.
Because you're right, there are people who come to Alabama A&M just because of what they see or what they hear in terms of excellent musical performance,
Yes.
either instrumental or choral,
That's right.
or vocal.
That's right.
We used to take vocalists around and recruit students to come
That's right.
to Alabama A&M. But it's important that you understand that the thing that we emphasize, and I'm sure you're still doing it, I'm confident you're still doing it, is excellence and the importance of it.
Yes.
Because if you're not going to do that, buddy, you know, you won't train people in any realm of preparation here on this campus to be able to live up to the motto of the school, where service gives you a place that's sovereign.
Yes.
And you can't perform at sovereign level except that you've been prepared at sovereign level.
That's right.
And you've been psychologized to know that that's what you've got to do when you get out.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Amen.
So from Mr. Yates to Dr. Carney, now when the band is down on the field, we hear a voice
Yes.
up there in the press box.
Yes.
And you know you have got to do the maroon, right? Of course. And talk about that.
Well, it's been my pleasure since I've been here. I think one day Mr. Wesley came to me and they had an announcement and said, we need someone to announce for the band. And I, of course, being the chairperson, I always wanted to help in any way I could. And I remember the days when Dr. Bradford used to announce as well. And so he had already set a standard. And so I just asked Mr. Wesley, let me see what the script was. And I used to go out, as I still do, sometimes just the day before, because I'm so pretty accustomed to used to find, although Mr. Yates is making quite a few important, innovative changes now. But we go out there and try to synchronize by rehearsing with them and their movements, because we wanted our show from Alabama A&M University to be recognized as one of the marching band shows that had excellence in it, starting from the first note to the last note, from whatever movement they were doing. And so I have been fortunate into being one of the voices of the marching maroon and white in the last 10 or so years. And it's a pleasure for me to do that. But again, practice is taken. I didn't get a chance to see them because most of the times I'm up high. I can see the arrangement, and we always check with another, Mr. Yates and Mr. West, when he was doing, how do we do, what do we look like, this kind of thing. So it's a constant process of assessing what we do, changing where we need to change. And since I've been here 20-some years, I've seen an evolution of excellence move in various levels and various stages. So I appreciate having that opportunity, and so far I haven't been fired. And so, but it's always a privilege. And I came up, actually when I first started, I wasn't doing what everybody probably knows me doing, because when I introduced the March of Maroon and White, and it came to me one day that I need to do something maybe kind of spice up things. And I tried it once, and it's been kind of the pattern people look for when we're bringing the band out. So it's been my pleasure.
Now, what is it that they look for?
What's the sound?
What is it that they look for?
I want to say that. Welcome to the present year's edition. In this case, it's the 2011 edition of the incomparable, renowned, marching maroon and white band of Alabama A&M University. And we use that, and so it's been my pleasure to be a part of that, and we want to do everything we can to see that is maintained and
Yes.
continued
Yes.
on all levels.
And and in that realm, they have been given, that is marching maroon and white, on the field, given prizes, right?
Yes.
Because of the quality of the performances that they presented on the field. And I know,
Parades as well.
Yeah.
Parades.
yeah, that's right, and parades and everything, that's right.
I think the Rose
Yes.
Parade.
We led the 2006 Tournament of Roses Parade. It was the 117th edition of it, and we were the first African American band to lead it. Collegiate band. Yeah, that's right. That's right. To lead the parade. So we made history with the March Maroon and White Band.
That's right. And that was a special honor,
Yes,
Ms.
it is.
Ragland, because we experienced not only being extended the invitation based on prior performance,
Right.
but also representing a judgment of the quality of what they were going to get.
That's
They
right,
had
that's
the
right.
person who was over it that year, she was from Alabama. They both came up with her husband, and they witnessed. They came to the rehearsal. That was a very exciting time for us, and it is one of the kudos, I would say, in the university's history books that will remain and also a part of our program. So, again, we coming back to this theme that we hope that you remember, and everyone listening, that it's all because of excellence, because we continue to strive for excellence. And so it's just another indication of the things we've done. And while I'm talking, and since I have the floor right now, I might mention also, as a part of this, just on the vocal side, that the Alabama A&M University Choir was esteemed and honored in 2009. We were the first HBCU choir in Alabama who was given a full concert opportunity. And it was a concert of excellence. To this date, no other choir has done that, and we feel very proud of this honor to have been given that opportunity and to have measured up to their standards. Because you don't get invited to these things just from a whim or because someone just likes you. You get invited because you have exhibited techniques, musicianship, and things which enable those people who are over a prestigious event to invite you. And so we're very proud of that, what the choir's done, as well as everything that the band has done, and I'm very proud to have been a part of it.
And one thing we could add, that's a very important point that they both left out. When we were invited to do the Tournament of Roses Parade, originally we were not the lead band. We were just invited to be a participant in the band. But when Libby, the president, came to the campus in September and witnessed our rehearsals and watched us perform and sat in our meetings, at the end of our field rehearsal, she announced to the band and to us at the time that she was the president and she had the power and she could do it, and that she was now going to make A&M the lead band because she saw
Witnessed
firsthand, not just from DVDs and tapes, but now she got a chance to witness us firsthand and perform. And she felt that it would shake up the Rose Bowl and it would be an honor to have us lead. So we became lead band that day as a result of her witnessing us rehearse and perform for her.
Initially, we had to do a DVD, to be considered.
That's right.
So we had to do that first. Then that's when she came and all that.
Evans Wright, president of the Tournament of Roses, here with my husband, Bill Wright. You know, several months ago, we were in Alabama at the Alabama A&M campus, got to meet everyone, all the band members and the president, and we just had a wonderful time. So when we came back home and we started planning all of our events for New Year's, we said, we have to have Alabama A&M at our director's dinner party and have them entertain for all of our friends. And they did that this night, and they got a standing ovation. They were wonderful.
One of the things that we noticed when we visited Alabama A&M, we came in, we saw this big sign, and it said, "Welcome, Libby Evans Wright, president of the 2006 Tournament of Roses Parade." I took pictures of that, and we put that on our website.
Yes. And of course, when we got back and started planning the actual things going on in the parade, we decided the best band and all the bands we selected to do the step-off band and be part of our opening was Alabama A&M, and that's what's going to happen at the beginning of the parade. So be sure you're there and see every moment. Thank you.
Those are important points because I think the misnomer sometimes is that when the band performs, that these are just performances. And I think that people need to know that these are peer-reviewed performances. These
what they
are
are.
professional musicians and committees who you actually have to submit
DVD, and they looked at it.
performances.
Right.
And,
You have to
and-
prove yourself.
That's right.
That's
You have to
right.
prove yourself, and you are actually screened.
Right, musicians.
And then you're reviewed, and you're chosen and selected to be a part based on that committee's assessment of whether or not you meet their standard.
That's right.
And we know how important the Rose Bowl is, whether you meet their standard to perform.
Yeah.
So that's something that's very important that people need to know, that it's not just, okay, it's a parade, or it's just a halftime show. That's very important. I mean, we could go on and on, as these gentlemen mentioned about awards that we received twice in a row.
All-American Bowl.
We were the first HBCU band, along with Florida A&M, to perform in the All-American Scholar Bowl out in San Antonio. That was 2006 also. They never had an HBCU band to perform and do halftime and postgame at that event before. We all know how big that bowl is. It's called a high school bowl game. We know how important it is. We were the first one to do that, along with Florida A&M.
Oh, you see, we started out a few minutes ago just talking about that at the beginning of our presentation here. We're talking about a legacy, a background, a history that Alabama A&M has had in music over the years.
That's right.
Both choral and instrumental and jazz and whatever. What the idea is that has prompted us, the motivation that has driven us, is the achievement of excellence in every aspect of our musical program at this great university.
That's right.
That Dr. Henry Posler used to say was the greatest university in the world.
Oh, yeah.
We will not dispute that at all.
Not at all.
Now, let me ask this.
Yes.
This year, I believe there were new uniforms acquired. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
We actually, we've been talking about our legacy and our tradition. We actually maintain tradition by redesigning the uniforms with the style of the uniforms that we had from the late 70s through now. We went back to what we call the Bugsby's, the hats, and so we called it, right, so we called it a little bit of tradition and modernization. We had a little twist to it, but we went back with tradition on those. We have sent out thank you letters to all the alums who and friends of the university who supported us. We got quite a bit of support from the general public about it. I even have several thank you letters and appreciation letters from the community at large. Some who were not even alums of the university just said, this program is important in our community. We appreciate it. Here's a $100 check, a $200 check, a $50 check. So the support for what we were trying to do was great, and we were able to unveil those new uniforms at homecoming for the first time. And they were much needed, new uniforms. So, I'm sorry, Dr. Bradford.
And I think this was, of course, one of the projects that our president, Dr. Hugh Guinea, was very supportive of in terms of the new uniforms for the band when they go out.
That's correct, he was. He engineered the whole idea of soliciting support and stating the need for the new uniforms. And so he was very instrumental in launching that. That's
Yeah. And for that, I said, hoorah, hoorah.
Okay.
right.
Excellent.
Well, gentlemen, if you had to leave words of wisdom, then what would you share with our viewers that are listening to all the things that you all have talked about today? What would be those words of wisdom that you would leave with the audience?
One word of wisdom you'd say, never believe that you cannot achieve. The thing that you must have is desire and internal motivation. And you can become anything musically or in any other realm for that matter that you can become if you drive hard enough, if you drive enthusiastically enough, if you drive strongly enough, you can achieve. And the sovereignty that's in the motto will be a realization.
Thank you. Mr. Wesley.
If you can believe it, you can achieve it.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I would also say that the band program, the music program, everything is in good hands. Okay, and that I hope that everything will continue. I pray that it will. I know that it will. Mr. Yates has done an excellent job, and I think that that he should continue on, and hopefully one day he will be appointed the director of bands.
Have mercy, and I concur.
Yes, sir. Amen.
And I doubly concur.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, does that put a lot of weight on your shoulders?
Yes, it does.
Just a little bit.
One day.
I would only add to what they've said in terms of encouragement, that you've heard what all of the gentlemen on stage have had to say in reference to our tradition, who we are, what we've done, our standard, our legacy. The question becomes now, do we want to continue this legacy for the next 100 years? And do we love what we're getting now? And can we continuously support and encourage all of us to be musicians and music educators?
Yes.
Outstanding musicians and music educators.
All right. Dr. Carney.
Well, I don't know what I have the words of wisdom except as I reflect, and I'm reflecting a lot these days because there are a lot of philosophical questions coming up about the value of music, especially with the state of finance in our country, et cetera, in the state. But every organization, every institution, as I reflect on it, is always going to want to have music as a part of its programs. And I think those of us who are entrusted, and for that matter, those students that you give us to educate, who will be in the same positions as we have been and are, need to know what the standard of excellence is, and that they receive their standard of excellence from hopefully those quality instructors who have exposed themselves to various training and who update their training to continue this legacy that we have been speaking about this afternoon. And we would love to continue to do this. We want the community to come out, share in our programs, come to everything. And I say this, and I love the marching band. We want them to come to that, but we also want them to come to the other musical performances that we have, because we have a total program here. Yes. We sing for the number of students that we serve, and we're from 5,000 to 6,000. We think we have a program that deserves to be maintained, deserves to be encouraged, and it deserves to be supported.
Yes.
So a comprehensive program.
Yes.
Here on the Hill at Alabama A&M University.
That is correct.
Yes.
Could I just say, while we have this floor, being that all of us are familiar with this issue too, that we wish the best for the Florida A&M family in reference to the hazing incident that took place there at the university, that we're prayerful for the staff, the administration, and the family of the victims as well.
By all means, that of course has gotten a lot of news coverage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's an issue, I guess, that will be addressed, not just in the press, but I assume in the court system at some point in time. And we'll have to return and we'll have to talk about that as an issue.
Sure.
Because Many people are concerned, parents, and that's one decision that you make based upon the health and welfare of your child.
Absolutely right.
Okay, so we'll have to do a part 2 and talk about.
Sure.
Very
The
good.
I'd love to do
Very
that.
good. We would love to do that.
Okay. Well,
We will.
gentlemen, thank all of you for coming today and sharing with us your words of wisdom, and also just letting our audience know all the many facets of music here at Alabama A&M University, and also the level of excellence
Yes.
that we promote in all phases of the music program and at Alabama A&M University. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for your kindness.
That's very true.
Well, you're quite welcome. I have learned a lot today, and I knew I would.
Especially Dr. Bradford.
We have been talking with some renowned individuals who bring a wealth of knowledge to the table about music, about life, about excellence, and about practice, practice, practice makes perfect.
Perfect.
I'm Elizabeth Sloan-Ragland. This is News from the Hill, and we thank you so much for watching this program.